The court has spoken and rendered its decision on the basis of evidence presented by both the prosecution and the defense. The palace welcomes, as it respects, the decision rendered by Judge Jocelyn Solis Reyes of Branch 221 of the Regional Trial Court of Quezon City on the decade-long case where 58 individuals, 32 of whom were media workers, were assassinated in Amptuan, Maguindanao last November 23, 2009. The court has spoken and rendered its decision on the basis of evidence presented by both the prosecution and the defense. There were verdicts of guilty and of acquittal. It behooves the parties to respect them. There are those who view the judgments as just as having prevailed. There are others who have contrary views. Those who disagree with the judgments of the court have legal remedies under their disposal. Ultimately, it will be the Supreme Court that will give the final judgment. For now, what is important is that the rule of law has prevailed. We reiterate that the participation of the executive branch, considering that the case was pending for adjudication before another independent branch of the government, the judiciary, is defined by virtue of the principle of separation of powers with regard to this suit. Despite the aforesaid, we wish to commend our executive officials who were either involved in the case as prosecutors or were heavily interested in its outcome as protectors of press freedom and human rights for ensuring that the propriety and the integrity of the proceedings were upheld. The Maguindanao Massacre marks a dark chapter in recent Philippine history that represents merciless disregard for the sacredness of human life, as well as the violent suppression of press freedom. This savage affront to human rights should never have a duplication in this country's history. The incident is one of the factors that prompted the President to anchor his presidency on the preservation and maintenance of law and order in the entire country. With utmost regard to the right of press freedom, the President issued his first administrative order number 1, series of 2016, which sought the protection of members of the media from any act of violence, threat, or intimidation by, among others, creating the Presidential Task Force on Media Security. While the promulgation of judgment of the case is done, the narrative on the protection of media workers, however, is far from over. The President and the whole of government see this as a constant trial and is therefore still hard at work in building a nation where wanton acts of violence can be prevented so that any intention to threaten our democracy will not prosper even at its inception. The Chief Executive assures us of his absolute obedience to the constitutional command to serve and to protect the Filipino people, even at the sacrifice of his life, liberty, and honor.
Okay, question, MBC. Yes, Joseph.
Sir, what does it say about the government's protection of the press freedom, sir? Does it have any implication? What does it show in terms of impunity and those kinds of stuff?
Well, it means that the government, and for that matter, any government, will have to do its utmost to protect those who not only uphold press freedom, but exercise